Hi, my name is Rosamund Molinax, and I have the absolute pleasure of introducing the Hannah Burt. The first time I met Hannah was in Latin class freshman year. I was on Zoom and she was in class, and all I knew about her was that she was called on first to read aloud the Latin on the board and translate it. Before I could even find the text we were reading, her scream became pinned on my screen as she burst into tears and asked Dr. McFadden if she could be skipped. It's a valid reaction. I knew right then that Hannah and I would become friends for multiple reasons, one of them being surviving Latin. She is friendly, funny, and extremely compassionate. I look forward to seeing her in the den, classes, and halls every day. She is always ready to listen and talk with you, whether it be about something you did over a break or how a class is going. I am so grateful to have gotten to spend the last 4 years with her, and I can't wait to hear from her today. Without further delay, I give you Hannah Nicole Burt.
Out of all the flaws of mine that I can think of, my commitment issues have to be at the top of my list. They're so bad, actually, that I could write a very long list of them, but I don't want to hold y'all here longer than you want to. So I will give you my top 3 examples of why and when I have struggled with my commitment. Example 1, this speech. On the first few days of school when we were talked to about the speech, I was so excited to write it. This had been something I had thought about since 5th grade, and the fact that it was now time to start really thinking about it or even writing it put me in a surprisingly very motivated mood. So even though I knew this speech wasn't until months from then, I started writing it as soon as I got the chance, so I could get it done in the first few weeks of school. That, of course, did not happen. In the middle of writing my speech, I realized I had no idea what I was saying. The speech was along the lines of how I loved The Walking Dead and how I wanted to marry Rick Grimes. I have no idea why I even had the idea to write about this speech, because there was absolutely no way I could have made some sort of life lesson about my crush on Rick Grimes, and it's honestly embarrassing to admit some of the things I was going to say in it. After this realization, I quickly deleted the whole thing and closed the document, not to be looked at again until before winter break. Example 2, playing guitar. When I was in lower school, I had a very short obsession with guitars. I have no idea where it came from, but I was so set on becoming a professional guitarist that I had somehow convinced my parents to not only get me one, but also get me lessons for it. When the first few lessons started, they were great. I'd start to understand how to play, and other than the fact that I didn't know his name for the first few weeks that we practiced because I was too scared to ask, I really liked my teacher. But then he springs to me that all the songs he had been teaching me were for my first recital, that I was going to be doing in front of a real audience. When he told me this, the first thing I thought was that there was absolutely no way that I was going to sit alone in front of an audience to play my horrible version of Mary Had a Little Lamb in Amazing Grace. So I didn't. I quote-unquote failed to tell my parents about it, and they did not find out until they got a call asking where I was. Apparently they made a cake for me, and they all had been waiting for about an hour. When they told me about this, I just told the truth and said I did not want to go. And although I was expecting chaos after telling them this, they actually let me stay home. After the incident, I was too scared to face my teacher, so I just quit. And for my last example, there's AP Bio. I've never been more determined to take a class, because even after I missed the interest meeting and didn't tell Dr. Soren until some weeks after, when she scheduled another time to meet, I completely forgot to go to it and ended up having to run to her class with a bunch of seniors in it to tell her that I was so sorry. After all this, I was sure that Dr. Soren then hated me and that there was no way that she would forgive me for this, but I still decided to take the class. For the rest of the year, I was pretty excited for it, but some advice that Dr. Soren had given me made me question my decision. She told me that this was going to be a class that was way harder than expected, and it's not made for everyone. And although I thought I could make it because I had survived sophomore year honors chem, she was completely right. Because by the end of the summer, I had dreaded the thought of taking this class. It mostly was because of the fact that I completed a good portion of the summer work and then realized I had done it all wrong, which led me to cry on the floor for a good hour, but also was because I just had to put me first. Although I love biology and I love Dr. Soren, there was no way I was going to take the class and pass without being miserable, so in the few weeks before school started, I dropped out. Looking back on these examples, I remember that in the time that they happened, I felt bad about myself. I felt like I should have stuck with it all and that I should stop being the type of person that can't make up her mind, because I was letting go of things that could have ended up great or at least better than I expected. But upon further thinking, I realized that I'm just as happy, probably even more now, without these things. And even though me giving up on them might seem as a waste of time or irresponsible, I left them knowing that I tried to enjoy it and just did not work out, and I don't regret a thing. So next time there's a sport that takes away your happiness or anything that drains you in your life, know that there's nothing wrong with stepping away from it. And to my class of 2024, thank you for being the kind and intelligent people that you are. There's no other grade that I would be happier to graduate or grow up with, and I have faith that each and every one of you will do amazing things in life. With y'all, there's no forcing my happiness, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.